Hi my friend, it's Pat Sloan and it is Happy Christmas Eve. Today on our calendar is to celebrate our favorite holiday quilt. Favorite Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever holiday it is in the December month that you want to share. I'd like to see just your favorite, just one, because you've been sharing tons of your holiday quilts, but I'd really like today for you to share the one that just makes your heart sing. You may have made it 20 years ago and you still love it, and I think that's just a testament to an amazing design and wonderful fabric. So this is mine. It's called I Believe. And this I designed and did quite a few years ago, and it was when I was really doing a lot of hand applique. So this is all hand applique, and what I want to do is a little close-up for you so that you can see some of the blocks. So I'm going to get the other camera. We'll start out with the I Believe block, which has X's and O's, my favorite hugs and kisses on everything. The blocks, many of them have meaning. So I'll tell you, this is Granny's house and Pappy's shed right here in the middle of the whole thing. We have sugar plum fairies up here. This is also machine quilted, hand applique machine quilted. I did all the machine quilting. It has traveled a ton, and so it's very compressed from being in the travel trunks. Here's the cardinal. You have to have a cardinal. Here's the cookie jar. There's Nana's cookie jar. This actually was probably Pop-Pop's cookie jar. I mean, he was the one that had the sweet tooth. There's a little nosegay, a little with the peppermints and the candy canes. I've got a twig tree and the long, Pippi long stockings down here, plus a gorgeous poinsettia. I love picking all the fabrics for that. I do love holly and bittersweet, topped with this funky little crow. There's some more holly. I want to show you the very last block. These are my snowflakes. They're inspired by 30s snowflake quilts. They were kit quilts. They were usually done on like a seafoam green background, but there's no stuffing in them, but there's also no quilting on them. So each of these are applique, but there's no quilting behind them. So this is my pattern, I Believe, and I can't wait to see your favorite holiday quilt. For those of you who love to see the back, let me see if I can try to hold this one up. It's got sections. One is a lot of this fabric, which is something I got on sale, which has ballroom dancing people, and I used it on a lot of quilts. My friend finally said to me, have you used that up yet? You've used it a lot. And I have some green. This is not even used in the front of the quilt. I just wanted to use it up. The same with what is on the bottom. I have got, I'll try to hold it, some multi, sort of seasonal prints, some, what is it, candy canes and peppermints. There we go. It's just a mishmash of stuff. So before we go to the back table and I talk a little bit about the backing for the old school block of the month, I just want you to see it all the way up here with all the blocks and the border on. So I ended up with I cut a 4.5 inch border. And then I am going to use that same fabric for the binding, and then there'll still be a strip to put on the back. So that is what I want to show you, sort of the thought process about what am I going to do for the backing of this. We'll go to the other side. This is about what I had left from the border fabric. What I had done, I think, was buy like 2 yards because I wanted the length of it. So I have, after I did the borders, I have this length and then a couple of smaller chunks, so they're not that big. May have been a 1.5 yard, whatever it was that I bought. So there's obviously not enough of this to do the whole backing, and I'm not going to go buy any. I'm going to see what I can manage. I do now need to cut, because I need to cut the binding off of here. So I'm going to cut probably 4 strips of this. I do the calculation. I know I need, I think I need 4. Or I could do 3 and then piece from here. I could do that. That way I keep a little bit more of this width. So I think that's what I'll do. 3 of strips for the binding from here, and then enough extra that I need off of these small pieces to use those up. But this is obviously not enough to do the backing. It is the whole, it's not even quite enough for the whole length. And I think it is enough for the whole length. Yeah, so I need to put stuff on either side because it'll be, a little bit shorter, or just kind of be this strip at some point. So what I thought I'd do was show you what I have left from the fabrics I used for the old school. And then another piece of fabric. So I started this one out with, whoops, come up here. I started this one out with just a layer cake, and there's 12 blocks. The interesting thing about this layer cake is that a lot of the fabrics were repeated. Like sometimes I had 4 squares because there were not that many fabrics in this line. So in order to make up the number, 42 in a layer cake, there had to be a lot of duplicates. But I knew that would not be enough fabric. So I ended up buying extra of several of them. So let me show you. Plus I had the background. So I had a layer cake plus the peach background, plus I bought like a yard of this one. And I had, I think, at least a half a yard, probably closer to a yard of that one. And I believe I may have even had a half a yard of this one. Now these are, this is, oh, and this one. I had another half, I think it was a half a yard, half a yard, half a yard of these 3. And then 1 yard of that floral. So those were all extra, plus the layer cake. And of the layer cake, I have this. Let me just show you the pieces left because it's kind of interesting to see. I always find it interesting. So a chunk of that one, a chunk of this one, and then I have several full squares. Like, so there's 2 partial squares and 1, 2, I'll just lay them here. 1, 2, 3, 3 of those squares. Oh, another little chunk of this one, 4, and then 3 of these pink squares. So 3 pink squares, 3 white squares, and then that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 3 partials. That is it. That is all that was left from that layer cake. But I also had those other fabrics in pretty big chunks, and I used a lot of it, like a lot of it, because they were half-yard pieces. So now what I want to do is for this backing, I'm going to have to draw myself a little diagram. I could go on the computer, but usually what I do is I just kind of sketch it out here, and then if it starts to get sort of messy or complicated, then I'll go to the computer. But basically, I need, the quilt itself is 87 tall by 67 wide, as it is now. So the backing needs to be about 8 inches. I like to give enough backing so the long armor doesn't have to fiddle. So I usually do about 4 inches on both sides. So that means I need 97 by 74 to give enough room for the backing. I don't know how much I can get from all of this, but I'm going to try to use up all of it. I'm going to just sew the sections. I'm going to do the binding first, be sure I have enough, use these smaller pieces, then take all these longer ones, like the longer pieces, and sew them together. You know, I have to get them straight, because like here, like this is not going to work. You know, you can't just, I'm not going to inset something, so it means I got to cut a strip and I'll have extra, you know, so it's a bit of a process to do this. This will not cover the back. That means I need more fabric. So I thought, I have from my wide backs, I have the black, and I have a few chunks because I've already used some of the wide backs and didn't use the whole piece of the 108. So I have some extra sections, and I'm going to find all of those and sew them on either side. So take the fabrics from the quilt, all sort of build out on the middle like a big rectangle. So that would be something like this. So in the middle will be like a strip of one fabric, and then probably chunks of stuff, and if I have to have more chunks of stuff on the other side, and then it'll probably be my black here and here. So that is how it'll end up, you know, sort of chunked out like that. And that takes a little bit of work, but it's actually kind of fun, and you get to use it up, because I'm not really going to use those random squares probably. I have lots of pink fabric and lots of white fabric, and so I really don't need to keep those ones. I think I'll just go ahead and incorporate them into the back of this guy. I also have 2 blocks, crumb blocks. I just thought of those. Hold on. So I can put these 2 crumb blocks also incorporated into the back. So I will do that. I don't think I have another one. This is mostly the fabric from the project. I did add a few of that from the Happy Everything, a little bit into this one because I needed to make it a little bigger. So I will put these two in there as well. So that'll give me just a little bit more, be a little bit fun. Okay, that's what I'm doing with that. Now let's look at Woodland Wonderland and see what we can be working on through the Christmas holiday next week. New Year's Eve will be the next Woodland Wonderland next Friday. So this is Friday. We're just setting stuff done. But let's take a look at it. For Woodland Wonderland Friday, I have everything up on the wall, and this is staying here until I get some of these parts connected. Yes, because I've been telling you for weeks, haven't I? Like, oh, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do the part under the owl. I'll do this. Not done a single bit of that. So between now and next Friday, this will stay here, and I will get those parts cut up. And let me just show you where I'm going to go with that. It's all through to chapter 6, but I'm going to skip ahead and get some of the filler stuff maybe for spacers. Like, I'll show you. It's just easier to show you. Oh, plus I have on the pin. So if you have the pin set, be sure to wear your wreath today. Okay, what do we got? Definitely going to do the branch under the owl. We'll get that done. I'm going to set all of this. And those are two things for chapter 6. That's actually chapter 6. Then if that's all you do, then you're sort of on track. But I want to go ahead and set the gnome and the mushrooms. I'm going to set these little hollies. And then I think what I'll do is get on each of these flower stems, there's actually another long branch that sticks out the end, and you can see it here, that piece. So I'm going to get those made, even though that's further ahead. We'll see if I get it done, but that way the units are coming together. There's still more. There's still another block, which is here, this block here, and then there's a bunch of little spacer things, like all these little dots over here. There's all the flying geese. So those are still units for doing at the end of, well, I don't know what the next chapter is. I haven't looked ahead. But we'll be working on this through into January, of course. So probably by the end of January will be the reveal. We'll be done with our whole top. And some of you, of course, have gone zooming ahead, and you have lovely tops already because you have the pattern. You can do that if you get on a roll. So that's where I'm going with all of this for Woodland Wonderland. I am so excited about it. And I don't know what I'm doing with the red ones yet. I will probably think about that in January, because I actually am mulling over going in and getting some red and white blocks out of this bin of these are all extra blocks, but getting some red and white ones and just doing a little quilt from the pieces from this, and then blocks I already have to do kind of a little red and white wall hanging. So that's kind of a thought, because I can use something I already have. And I have a couple of wonderful cards. This is from Jeannie in West Virginia, and she tells me that she actually grew up in the DC area over in the Maryland side. And from Pat, another Pat, she sent me this super cute card. Look at this, and it's two-sided, so take a look at that. It's from Pat and her husband Guy to Greg and I, another Pat. And then on the back, look at this gnome. Look how cute that is. Then she also sent along a few ornaments. Look how precious. Thank you so much. Mwah. Thank you, my friends, for being here today on Christmas Eve. I know that it is a busy day for many of you. You might be on travel. We usually would have been on travel up until my mother-in-law's passing for over 40 years, probably it felt like. We would drive to see my in-laws and some of other family on Christmas Eve, and then on Christmas morning we would wake up and we would drive back here and see family here. So nowadays we stay home, and we are enjoying that immensely. It was a lot of years on the road. It's a busy, busy day on the road. So I am so happy to be with you. I can't wait to chat with you. Of course, my community page will be online every day, all day through Christmas, and every day of the year. The next video will be our regular video on Monday. So I love you. Merry Christmas. Mwah. See you online.